around 50, okay, some people will be like, okay, should I change career at 50? Well, yes, because you've done the hard work. Remember that the idea is to take your skills, what you're good at, what you like, what you don't like, to identify the important elements and combine them together to create a career that makes sense to you. So don't get discouraged if you feel too old for the thing. You're not.
Are you a solopreneur looking to 2 times your revenue to fund your lifestyle and give back? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hello to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Love to get your feedback at paul@buildlivegive.com. It means the world to me when you do. Our guest today is someone who traveled the world for 15 years and he started many entrepreneurial endeavors. His second one from what he does now is a video animation business, but his heart was just not in it. Then he went and leveraged his knowledge of working remote to help people make the same shift as he did. So why listen? The value of going within to find your ideal remote career, the value of diagnostic tools to help you make life-changing decisions, and the benefit of habit trackers when you work solo. The guest has also kindly given a free download called the Opportunity Filter. It will be in the show notes. So now over to Jonathan Magnin from You're Closer Than You Think. Welcome, Jonathan Magnin from You're Closer Than You Think to the Build, Live, Give podcast. Great to have you here, Jonathan.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Look, it's absolutely my pleasure. So I know you've got a topic that's very close to my heart that we're going to talk about today, going from employee to a remote career. But why don't we kick off with something that your friends or family would know about you that we may not?
All right. So I would say that I'm actually quite minimalist. For the last 12 years, I spent probably 9 years abroad. And for each of my travels, I feel that my bag is getting smaller and smaller. So I live pretty simply, and I kind of love it because it allows me to, to feel more focused. So yeah.
Right. So what are some of those essential things? So if you get on a plane tomorrow and you fly to, let's say Brazil, what are the essential things that you have in your bag?
Definitely my headphones, computer and phone.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I love to bring my camera too. And honestly, a few clothes I like. I'm not a paper guy for sure. And maybe some essential oils. Like I love these things.
Excellent. And what sort of headphones? Are my headphones aficionado?
I recently got the Bose noise reduction. And I love them.
Yeah, well, look, I used to have a pair of those. I've got the Sony ones at the moment, the poor man's version. But yeah, I love them. And, some people collect watches. I collect headphones. So there's, but I've got a pair of Beats at the moment. So anyone listening from Beats, I need some help because just out of, it's like a 6-month period or something. It just won't charge and it won't work basically. So because I've got the Bose not noise reduction but the sport ones that are wireless for your ears, but when you do an audio call, when you use your cell phone or mobile phone, it only goes into one ear. It goes mono rather than stereo. So anyway, first world problems, but I love the minimalist thing. We used to move a lot, so we used to just every time we moved, it was a great excuse to get rid of things. So I think that's a great thing. Now, for you, I know you're in events, you're in property. How did it come about for you to start running your own business?
Actually, it was quite a long process. Like when I was 15 years old, I had no idea what I wanted to do professionally. And honestly, at 25, I wasn't in a better situation. But around that time, around 25, I felt an urge to take care of my life, to sort out my professional situation. And that led me to sit down, to research, and ultimately to entrepreneurship. Then that entrepreneurship journey wasn't straightforward at all. I learned about marketing and blogging, and I think I tried every business opportunity out there. From SEO to creating an app to growth hacking. Even tried to sell T-shirts. But in these last maybe 6-7 years of entrepreneurship, my main online projects turned out to be the creation of a personal French personal development blog. And then I moved to an animated explainer video business. And finally, I'm doing what I'm dedicated to now, helping people discover their ideal career.
Excellent. Well, we'll definitely hear about more of that in the build section. But, obviously it was lots of different opportunities. If you had to if someone's listening now and they're in that period where they're saying, look, my career's not for me, but I want to go out and do something. What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way that you could share with them?
Right. And actually, I set my whole business around this question. I think it's a bit overlooked. I feel that usually it's common for people to consider their skills and what's out there, what the market offers. You go on Monster, you go on LinkedIn, you try to find a match between your skills and the jobs. But I feel there is so much more to it. When you start to ask yourself what audience you want to work with, what industry interests you, what you want to stand for, what really makes you live, what's your ideal lifestyle. I think there's a lot more than your skills. So if I could give a quick advice here, it would be to go within and to really ask yourself a lot of questions to know what you really want, and then put these elements together to create your ideal career.
Excellent. As you sort of went through this journey, what was some of the mindset changes that helped you be more successful in some ventures rather than others?
I think it was like the whole thing of going within. I think that was really important for me, because when I started this explainer video business, I did it because I knew there was an opportunity for me in the environment where I was at the time. I was actually in Dublin. I was trying to create a business out there because I felt pretty connected with the startup scene in Dublin, which is pretty good actually. And I found an opportunity that most people there were trying to create some apps, and I felt the opportunity was there in creating explainer videos for them. These 1-minute explainer videos that tell what the app is doing, what the company is actually offering.
Yes.
And I felt there was an opportunity there, and I pursued it. I worked with a designer for about a year to create videos. I actually started a whole marketing campaign to reach out to people and create videos for them for free. But I felt that my heart was not in it. So after a while, actually 2-3 years, because the business never really took off as I expected, I went back to my original feelings or what I really wanted to do. And actually I went back to creating this career coaching business.
Yeah, look, I think that's, so important. I'm always look at that sort of diagram of, what are you passionate about, what skills you've got, and also, what the market need is. And, I think so often people overlook the first one, which is, what I'm getting a summary of from you with that go within is like, what are you really passionate about? And personally for me, I found that so the case where the last 2 years, my health wasn't great. And, if I wasn't passionate about what I did, there's no way that I would have been able to work in a hospital, as an example, for the amount of days and hours that I did. But because I loved what I did, it made it so much easier. And I think if you're listening now and you're in a career that you don't love, I highly recommend you talk to Jonathan, because he's got some great models, and we'll talk about that later around how you can make that change. And all through this journey, Jonathan, through your various roles, etc., various business entry types, who supported you? Did you have a mentor, a coach, a mastermind? Sort of, who was your support network?
Actually, not much on my side. I haven't found the right mentor or coach yet. Actually, I'm open to it. So up to now, I tend to look for solutions online, or I talk to friends when I need support. And so that's for the coach and mentors. I know masterminds are also a great way to get support, and I tried a few, but I always had a hard time to find a reliable support group. Like I tried several. I even set up my own mastermind group in Dublin, actually.
Yes.
But after a while, I felt I was the only one really driving the thing and make it happen. So I gave it up.
Yeah, and was that a paid, or was it free?
No,
the mastermind.
It was a free one. We were four around the same business stage. But I don't know, these things you really need to click. So if you guys who are listening, you do have a group and you enjoy it, like, this is gold. So like, take advantage of it, because it's not easy to find one.
Yeah, look, I think that's great advice. So, for me, I'm always in a mastermind, and some are paid, some aren't. I must admit, the paid ones, tend to remove some of the issues that you just spoke about, I think. And, having a strong person, like a person that leads the mastermind, that helps everyone to be accountable, I think they work much better. But yeah, look, I'm always in them. I run my own. So that's what I do, is my core business is group masterminds. And I think they're a brilliant way. And it's often I'll just hear someone else say something and I think, oh God, yeah, that's definitely missing in my business, or that's a brilliant idea I can take from it. Plus it gets lonely, for a lot of us. And I know you were traveling a lot for those 15 years. It gets lonely being home by yourself. So, I think it's great to catch up with like-minded people. So what we'll do now is go into the build section. So when someone says, hey, Jonathan, what do you do today? How do you add value to your clients? What do you say?
Simply that I help overworked people discover the ideal remote career for them.
Great. And the remote career, what does that mean? Tell us a little bit more about what a remote career means.
So to me, I really focus on helping people get a remote career. Firstly, because I think it's the future, and it has a lot of advantage to it. I couldn't get back to a normal office job myself, but also, like, I'm not qualified to bring people to do CVs and get interviews and be successful at getting a job in a big company. That's not my thing. I'm sure there are other people who are way more skilled than me to do that. That's not what I do. I would rather take the skills that people have, identify the ones that they love to do, that they'd love to develop, and then combine them, forming a job that they love, and sell it online so that it can be remote.
Great. And when you talk about a remote career, I automatically go that you're working for somebody else remotely. But is it more than that? Is it actually like a freelancer or running your own business remotely? Just, if you can just give a bit more definition to that.
So for some people, it would be easier and more natural to work for themselves as freelancers. So it means that some people say it's the expert business. So it means that you take some services, you get really good at it, position yourself, and then propose it to the world. Some people, they feel more comfortable in a team. So it's the same process. They identify what they're good at, what they really want to do, but then instead of starting from scratch and building the whole thing themselves, they need to find a team of people who are already in flow, who are already working, and join the team.
Great. And, what do you know about helping people create a remote career that a lot of your clients don't know by nature?
Well, since almost a year, actually, I'm a certified coach on a platform called GeniusU. I don't know if you know that one.
Look, I've heard of it, but I've never done it myself.
Right. So it's they have some kind of personality test called the Wealth Dynamics test, and what it does, it gives you the result is one of 8 profiles, and it gives you a lot of insight into how you should approach any job. So it's really the how. It's not what I do with my coaching is the what job you should go for. What this test is doing is answering the how you should approach a job. So some people are more extrovert, some are more introvert, and some are more intuitive, and some are more practical. And you have 8 profiles that are spread around these 4 things. And the approach is really powerful when you know what profile you are. I don't know if I should go into more details here.
Look, what we'll do is we'll definitely put a link to the show notes, and if people want to find out more, we'll also put a way that they can contact you. But look, I think it's great. It was interesting in 2001. 2001. I'm not that old. 2011, when I left my employer Coca-Cola, I actually did. It was called Saville Wave. Have you ever heard of the Saville and Saville Wave company?
No.
No, so look, it's a similar thing. I just say that, it was like an older version now. And I went through, and it basically told me that it had a green and red. So the green is all the environments you work in best, and the red is all the ones that you don't. And fortunately, because I just left, but my current employer was all red, and the green, I suppose, is what I then went and created for myself. But I think those diagnostics and getting someone that can help you interpret it, like Jonathan, I think is really, really valuable if you're at a crossroads. And for you, so remote career people, who's your ideal client? Who do you love helping to find that remote career?
Well, at the moment, I'm more focused in people from, let's say, 25 to 40. Usually, they would be good at what they do, but they feel overworked, they feel stressed with their job, and they're ready to take action to change their career. And when I said 25 to 40, that's kind of general, because I could work with students. However, students, they don't have that much work experience, so it's a bit harder for them to answer some questions because they lack experience. And again, the opposite would be that around 50, okay, some people will be like, okay, should I change career at 50? Well, yes, because you've done the hard work. Remember that the idea is to take your skills, what you're good at, what you like, what you don't like, to identify the important elements and combine them together to create a career that makes sense to you. So when you're 50, man, you know what you're talking about. You know what you like. You know what you don't. So it's actually easier with people with more experience. So don't get discouraged if you feel too old for the thing. You're not.
Oh, that's great advice. And I know I left at 41, and it was like going back to uni, to be honest, like leaving a large corporate, starting your own business from scratch. It was literally like going back to my uni days, and it was it was incredibly invigorating. And I know I don't know what it's like in France, but certainly in Australia, like if you're a really intelligent 50-year-old that's had a great career, it is now hard to get a full-time role. People are looking more either for younger people, or they're looking to take you on a contract point of view. They want all the knowledge without any of the risk, particularly because super here in our country and other benefits are becoming quite high. So, and a lot of the companies have actually got a legacy that they want to remove, so they don't want to add to that legacy of people. So, I agree with you. Never too late to do it. And for you and your own business, what are some of the challenges for you in continuing to grow? You're closer than you think.
My current challenges.
Yeah. What are some of the current challenges for you?
So, I would say that I'm quite comfortable at the moment with the lower part of my funnel. I feel that I can build trust with my content. I know how to direct people to book a call with me to see if we're a good fit to work together. But at the moment, the top of my funnel to get more exposure is what I miss. So yeah, I think that's the challenging part for me at the moment.
Yeah, look, and I hear you. I must admit, when I came out of my operation last year, it was like, okay, now it's game on. I know I'm well enough to start business again. And, I tried Facebook ads and I just couldn't get them to work. And it was interesting. Last month, I thought I'll go back to Facebook ads. And I just did a post on LinkedIn about it. And they just banned my account. And I've got no idea why. I've done, I hardly did any ads a couple of years ago. And then all of a sudden my account's banned. And then it was reinstated overnight. But I don't know why it was reinstated either. But what we found is LinkedIn, organic in particular, has done great things. Are you doing much on LinkedIn at the moment?
I used to contact a lot of people, but not too much. Like I try to also post the content that I post on other platforms there. I found actually the quality of the contact on LinkedIn are quite higher than on Facebook.
Yes.
However, I'm mostly answering messages and networking connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's a great compliment. So if you continue to do that, I think it's excellent. But I know if you post great content and the people that like and comment on it, then they've already seen your profile, they love your content, then it's a lot easier to contact them. It's not a cold outreach, it's a warm one. So I think with your ability to write blogs, etc., it may be something worth trying. And we've talked about driving traffic to your business. What about, and you've talked about converting leads to sales is something you're very strong at. What are some of your key tips there? So if you've finally got some great leads, and like you said, you've got a high conversion rate, what are some of the tips you've got for people listening on how to convert a lead?
What I need to do, like the structure of my funnel would be to direct them to book a call with me. That's my end result that I want. And what I try to do in this call is to understand where they are, where they want to go, and what's getting in the way. And from there, I'm trying to gather as much information as I can about really their desire and where they struggle. And that allows me in that call, it can take an hour. Usually it takes an hour actually. And in that call, it really allows me to know if we're a good fit to work for each other, with each other, sorry.
Yes.
Because, if I don't want to engage myself with, for 3 months, with a coaching client that is not a good fit for me, just like in terms of, firstly, in terms of energy, but also in terms of results. Like I want this person to give me a great testimonial. So the ability that I have to do good work needs to be really nailed down. I need to be selective at the beginning. Does that make sense?
Oh, look, makes perfect sense. And I think that's, we've all done it. We've all picked a client that we know intuitively is probably not the right client. Maybe we've taken it for, unfortunately, financial reasons, and then it's turned out to be, not the right thing. So I think it's absolutely critical to get that criteria up front and be true to that criteria. And as you said, mainly for the client, because they want a great result. You want to help people. So that's excellent. Look, before we go into the live section, I'd like to tell you about my book called Build, Live, Give. And I go through my lessons that I learned from leaving Coca-Cola to run my own business. So very much in line with what Jonathan helps with, which is, employee to remote career. I then talk about how I scaled it whilst going through my transplant. I will give you the same 5 growth drivers I've used to help 257 coaches and consultants to both build, live, and give. Just go to buildlivegive.com/book to get your copy today. And there's also a link in the show notes. So the next section is the live section. So what are some of the daily habits that help you be successful, Jonathan?
So my daily habits would all be summarized in an app that I use called coach.me. I don't know if you're aware of.
Yeah, look, I have, and I've tried it. Yeah.
All right. So for me, it's a great tool that I use for like 5 or 6 years. It's a simple tool. You just enter a few habits that you'd like to do either every day or a few times a week at least. And every day, or let's say every night, when I'm about to fall asleep, I just tick the ones I did during the day. And I really took the habit of checking this app before sleeping. And it's a great way to keep the motivation up, actually, because it means that even if I have like 10 or 12 in that thing, and I think I never tick them all the same day, but it doesn't matter, because I know that if I haven't meditated for like 2 or 3 days, I'm like, tomorrow I really need to try harder because I need to take that one. So it's been great. It's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, look, I use something called Envision, so Envision. I'll put the links to both of those in the show notes. Very similar to you. So every night before I go to bed, I tick them off, and it's got a streak. So does Coach Me have a streak count on how many in a row you've done and what's the percentage of the total?
Yes, you get some stats too, yeah.
Yeah. So, for me, I love the fact that, so for me, a cold shower is one of my goals for this year. And I know now I'm at 94% of the year that I've done a cold shower, as an example. And I think they're great. And where do you love to spend your me time? So when you're not working, what are some of the things you love to indulge with? I know you mentioned photography before, but what are some of the things you love to indulge with when you're not working?
Yeah, exactly. Photography is like I used to do. You start usually with landscapes, but for me, like I got bored of landscapes pretty quickly, so I try to do portraits from time to time. But I spent the last few years in Latin America, particularly in Colombia and Brazil. So when my me time would be maybe a weekend off to a waterfall or a mountain or something with a great view. Like I love nature.
Great. And have you been struck by the addiction of TikTok?
TikTok?
Yeah, so TikTok's sort of like an Instagram on steroids. It's the latest craze at the moment where, you might have someone walking in Iceland in an amazing view, and it's like a 15-second video of someone doing that with motivational music in the background. It is incredibly, so some of the footage is incredibly beautiful and it's incredibly addictive. So I've now got a 5-minute limit for my TikTok each day, but some of the scenery that I see there is just absolutely incredible. So maybe you could upload some of your great shots on TikTok.
And get you addictive. Even more.
Yeah. Just make sure you set a time limit, because it is hugely addictive, especially if you're watching a boring TV show with your wife. I don't think Linda, my wife, listens to this podcast, but yeah, she'll be watching something that I don't particularly want to watch, but I want to be there. And then sort of got the pillow and a bit of TikTok action happening. Anyway,
then you can increase your limit to an hour.
Yeah, correct. I see how long I can go before I get caught. Look, the next section's the give section. So what's a charity or a community that you're passionate about and why?
You know what? I love every movement or organization that is contributing to to shifting the mindset from the old paradigm of competition, of isolation, to the new one of collaboration and getting your power back. For me, that's super important. And it can be anything really, from the blockchain that decentralizes the power and make things more transparent, to spiritual activities that help us reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with nature. And this is pretty big, this is pretty meta, but if you go into these movements, I mean, there are a lot of things, like it can be the vegan movement, consumption consciousness, the bio remedies, minimalism, or even the I don't know if you're aware of that fairly new movement, the technology. What's the name again? I think it's Tristan Harris is leading this movement. It's a human downgrading movement. It's about how technology is kind of not helpful for humanity. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty powerful. He's getting actually quite some attention, mostly in Silicon Valley. And maybe you should add a link. You could add a link to this. I can send you something. I think it's really interesting, because we're all, I guess your audience spend quite some time behind screens like us, and this movement is about at least more transparency on how the algorithm of YouTube, Facebook, and so on are made to just spend more time there. And the idea is that they don't really mind what we watch as long as we watch. And because watching something more extreme just keep us more stuck to the screen, then if you watch something a fairly mild point of view, you will have suggestions of more extreme point of views, and that will keep you watching videos. And that's what they're trying to make more transparent, let's say.
Yeah, and actually, I think I did hear him on a podcast. I don't know if I listen to so many podcasts. I don't know if it's social media marketing world or something like that. But yeah, because I think he was the guy that initially helped a lot of these platforms effectively become addictive, and now I think he's helping us humans to break from that. So I'll definitely put the link in the show notes. I'll also find the podcast that I listen to as well and put that in the show notes. But I think for me, I block the middle of my day out every day to basically switch off. So I ride my bike, I go and have a swim, I have a 30-minute nap, I have a nice lunch, and that is completely technology free. So I think it's really important to have that in your day. So brilliant. Well, look, that's some great thoughts there. So the last section is the action section. So I'll just ask you some questions and get some rapid fire responses. So what are your top 3 personal effectiveness tips?
So that would be watch and optimize your energy level. It talks about sleep, food, screen time, but watch your energy level. Yeah, I think that's how I kind of set my day. Yeah.
Okay, great. And that's your 3 in 1?
No, that's one.
That's one. Okay, cool. So number 2?
So number 2 would be try to avoid information overload. Take action when you found something worth trying out, and just avoid information overload.
Great. And number 3?
Number 3 would be to look inside. We often know what is best for us, but we need to consult ourselves internally, through meditation or just moments of silence, really.
Excellent. And what's some tech that you could not, run your business without, given especially, how much you have traveled in the past?
My headphones.
Yes.
I tend to work in cafes. I don't like working from home or co-working space. I work in cafes, so that would be my headphones and the Coach.me app.
Great. And being a minimalist, I won't ask you for any more. And last question of this, the action section is, what is your best source of new ideas to improve you or your business?
Look, I will not give another source of new ideas to your audience because they know where the information is, I'm sure. So I would say that, yeah, go inside of you, because sitting with the intention to find out what we heard, what was important during the day, is super important. And I believe that the answers, the right things, the creative answers can come naturally to you.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, look, it's been an absolute joy having you on the podcast. I know that you've given people a little bonus for listening. So if you go to yourcloser.co/filter, there's a fantastic PDF you can download where it talks through 12 questions you can answer to really understand if you're in the right career and around that career change. And we'll put all the links to contact Jonathan as well to go deeper into the GeniusU platform, which I think is fantastic and very worthwhile doing it. I know for me, it solidified the reason why I was changing from corporate to my remote career. And also, I think you've got a Facebook group as well, Jonathan, called Career Change Mastermind. So what happens within the Facebook group? Just tell us a little bit about that.
I'm trying to give extra content, I'm actually pretty good at finding the important elements from the noise. So this is where I put them.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, as I said, great having you on, and have a lovely, I'm assuming, a lovely afternoon, or no, it's probably, what is it, evening for you?
It's evening. It's evening here
in France. Yeah, so have a
lovely.
That
was a great pleasure to be here too, Paul. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jonathan. Bye. That was such a great interview with Jonathan. You can get the show notes at buildlivegive.com. If you believe someone you know would benefit from the show, please share it. Also, Jonathan would love to get your feedback and appreciation on LinkedIn. Just look for his profile. It'll be in the show notes. You can get the Build, Live, Give book at buildlivegive.com/book. If you have it and like it, love to get a review on Amazon. The link to that will be in the show notes. Please take action to build your business and lifestyle.
Thank you for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.